1909. Wheat penny. Market value. 5,200. The year 1909 holds a monumental place in the history of American coinage, especially for collectors who admire the Lincoln wheat penny. This coin was not only the very first year of issue for the Lincoln cent, but it also marked a turning point in the U.S. Mint's approach to coin design. Prior to 1909, the cent featured the Indian head design, which had been in circulation for decades. The introduction of the Lincoln cent was meant to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, making it the first regular issue U.S. coin to depict a real person. Sculptor Victor David Brenner was commissioned to create this new design, and his work resulted in one of the most iconic coins ever produced by the United States Mint. The obverse side of the coin shows a detailed profile of Abraham Lincoln, facing right, with the words, "In God We Trust" inscribed above his head, liberty to the left, and the date 1909 positioned to the right. The reverse, known as the wheat reverse, consists of two stylized wheat stalks that curve inward from each side, surrounding the inscriptions 1 cent, United States of America, and E pluribus unum at the top. This wheat ear design would remain in place until 1958, after which it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial reverse starting in 1959. The 1909 Lincoln wheat penny carries significant historical value because it represents the start of one of the most collected series in American numismatics. For many collectors, owning a 1909 cent is like holding a piece of the beginning of an era. Within the year 1909 itself, there are several varieties that are particularly sought after, including the 1909 VDB and the 1909 VDB pennies. These versions carry the initials of Victor David Brenner, and while not all 1909 wheat pennies feature the initials, the controversy surrounding them makes all 1909 issues more intriguing to numismatists. The initials were considered too prominent at first, so they were quickly removed after public criticism. This sudden change created both scarce and common versions of the coin, further adding to its collectible nature. What sets the 1909 wheat penny apart from other Lincoln cents is not only its inaugural status, but also its relatively limited mintage compared to later years. When analyzing the availability of these coins today, one must keep in mind that circulation wear, environmental damage, and loss over the decades have drastically reduced the number of high-quality survivors. Many 1909 wheat pennies are found in circulated grades showing varying degrees of wear. However, collectors pay premium prices for uncirculated or mint-state examples, which have sharp details and original luster. A well-preserved 1909 wheat penny in mint condition can command values as high as $5,200 in today's numismatic market, depending on the specific variety and grading. The market demand for the 1909 wheat penny is fueled by multiple factors: its historical significance as the first Lincoln cent, its association with Abraham Lincoln's centennial, its status as a transitional coin replacing the Indian head cent, and the intrigue surrounding the VDB initials. Each of these elements adds to the story that collectors and investors are willing to pay for. Unlike many modern coins, which may be produced in massive quantities with little regard for long-term value, the 1909 wheat penny has both the scarcity and narrative appeal that make it a centerpiece of any serious Lincoln cent collection. Another important aspect of this coin's desirability is the role of third-party grading services such as NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company, and PCGS, Professional. Coin Grading Service. Collectors and investors alike prefer coins that are professionally graded and authenticated, as this eliminates doubts about condition, originality, and possible counterfeits. A 1909 wheat penny graded MS-65 or higher by one of these trusted services can bring staggering prices at auction. Even lower-graded coins in good-to-fine condition are valued because of their historical importance. What makes the coin even more fascinating is that it appeals to a broad range of collectors, both beginners, who might start with a circulated 1909 penny, and seasoned numismatists, who seek the finest known examples. The Lincoln cent as a whole has become the most widely collected U.S. coin series in history, but among all Lincoln cents, the 1909 issue remains the most iconic starting point. It is the cornerstone of the collection, the coin that set everything in motion. When collectors speak about the keys to the Lincoln cent series, the 1909 issues are always at the top of the list. While later rare coins, such as the 1914 D and 1922 no D cents, attract attention due to low mintages or errors, the 1909 Wheat Penny commands respect because it carries with it the prestige of being the very first. In today's coin market, prices fluctuate based on availability, condition, and demand, but the 1909 Wheat Penny consistently maintains strong value. With auction records reaching thousands of dollars, including the $200 mark for high-grade examples, it proves that collectors are willing to pay top dollar for this historic piece. It is not just a coin, it is a piece of American heritage. The fascination with Lincoln's image, combined with the artistry of Brenner's design and the historical context of 1909, ensures that this coin remains a permanent fixture in the numismatic spotlight. For anyone who comes across a 1909 Wheat Penny, the experience is thrilling. Whether found in an inherited collection, purchased at a coin shop, or discovered at an estate sale, the coin instantly sparks curiosity. People often wonder about its age, its journey through circulation, and its value in today's market. That sense of discovery is what makes coin collecting so captivating, and the 1909 Wheat Penny embodies that excitement more than most. It is a coin that tells a story of transition, artistry, and enduring value, all encapsulated in a small copper disc. In summary, the 1909 Wheat Penny is a remarkable coin that bridges America's past with its present collecting culture. Its introduction not only revolutionized U.S. coinage by featuring a real person, but also cemented Abraham Lincoln's place on one of the most enduring coins ever made. With a current market value reaching as high as $200 for premium examples, this coin continues to be one of the most desired pieces among collectors. It is proof that rarity, historical context, and design excellence can transform a simple, 1-cent coin into a prized treasure worth thousands of dollars. Owning a 1909 Wheat Penny means holding on to a legacy that has captivated generations of collectors, making it a timeless symbol of American numismatics. Next up, 1927 Wheat Penny, market value, $4,850. The 1927 Lincoln Wheat Penny stands as a fascinating relic from an era defined by economic prosperity and cultural transformation in the United States. Issued during the height of the Roaring Twenties, this coin not only carries the design excellence of Victor David Brenner, but also reflects the optimistic spirit of a nation experiencing rapid growth before the hardships of the Great Depression arrived only a few years later. The 1927 cent was minted at 3 facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. However, when collectors speak of the 1927 Wheat Penny, they often pay particular attention to the Philadelphia issue without a mint mark. While its mintage numbers were not exceptionally low, the passage of nearly a century has left high quality, examples scarce, and surviving coins in mint condition can command values of up to $4,150 in the numismatic market. On the obverse, the 1927 penny features Abraham Lincoln's profile facing to the right, a design that by then had already become deeply ingrained in the American consciousness. Above Lincoln's head is the phrase, "In God we trust," while the word liberty appears to his left shoulder, and the date 1927 is positioned on the right side near the edge of the rim. This portrait, based on Brenner's sculpting, carries subtle details that bring Lincoln's image to life. The contours of his cheek, the flowing lines of his beard, and the solemn expression that has become an enduring symbol of honesty and resilience. The reverse of the coin retains the classic wheat ears on both sides, which encircle the bold 1-cent denomination and the country's name, United States of America. The Latin motto, E pluribus unum, crowns the design, giving the coin a timeless quality rooted in national identity. What makes the 1927 penny particularly attractive to collectors is the balance between availability and scarcity. In circulated grades, the coin can be acquired by most hobbyists without straining their budgets, making it a popular entry point into early 20th century Lincoln cents. Yet as the grade climbs into the higher ranges, particularly mint state, with full red coloration, the rarity intensifies dramatically. Copper coins are notorious for toning, darkening, or developing spots over time, and very few 1927 wheat pennies retain their original bright luster. This is why a pristine example graded MS 65 or higher can fetch auction prices nearing $4,150, especially when authenticated by leading grading services like PCGS or NGC. The historical context of 1927 adds another layer of significance to this coin. America was in the midst of a period often referred to as the Jazz Age, characterized by innovation, cultural shifts, and expanding economic opportunity. Collectors often like to imagine the journey of a coin, and the 1927 penny may have passed through the hands of someone buying gasoline for just 21 cents a gallon, or perhaps it was exchanged during the purchase of popular household products of the era. When you hold such a coin today, you're not only holding copper and design, but also a tangible connection to a vibrant decade that shaped modern America. That storytelling aspect enhances its collectability and ensures its value goes beyond face value or even metal content. Another aspect influencing its desirability is the role of die varieties and errors. While the 1927 penny itself doesn't have as many famous error varieties as some other years, collectors still hunt for repunched mint marks, doubled dies, or off-center strikes. Any such error can elevate the value significantly because coins combine rarity with uniqueness. No two errors are ever exactly alike. For dedicated Lincoln cent collectors, finding an unusual 1927 example with such traits would be considered a prized acquisition. One of the key reasons the 1927 penny has managed to maintain strong value is the widespread appeal of the Lincoln Wheat Cent series. Unlike more obscure coins, the Lincoln cent is familiar to virtually every American. This familiarity translates into broader demand across generations of collectors. Even casual hobbyists who may not specialize in rare coins often recognize the significance of an early wheat cent and are willing to pay more to own one, particularly when the date falls in the 1920s, a decade that represents an earlier stage of Lincoln cent history. Over the years, numismatic auctions have consistently demonstrated the strong performance of high-grade 1927 wheat pennies. Prices vary depending on the coin's color designation, whether red, RD, red-brown, RB, or brown, BN. A fully red coin with blazing original luster commands the highest premiums because such examples are far rarer than their brown-toned counterparts. Collectors will pay significant amounts to secure a red 1927 cent, and the market value of $4,150 reflects the top end of what is possible for a superb specimen. Even lower-end red-brown examples can still bring hundreds of dollars, showing the broad appeal of the coin across condition levels. The preservation of copper coins from the 1920s has always been a challenge. Environmental exposure, circulation, wear, and even improper storage can drastically reduce a coin's eye appeal. Collectors who are fortunate enough to acquire a 1927 wheat penny in well-preserved condition know they own a piece of history that has defied the odds. Every sharp detail in Lincoln's portrait, every defined grain in the wheat stalks, tells a story of resilience through decades. That endurance makes the coin not just a collectible, but a relic of the past that has survived nearly 100 years of potential damage. For those who assemble complete Lincoln cent collections, the 1927 issue is often considered an essential midpoint date. While not as elusive as the 1909 VDB or the 1914D, it fills an important slot in the series. Its value continues to rise as collectors compete for the best preserved examples, driving up demand in the marketplace. The law of supply and demand plays out vividly in numismatics, and the 1927 Wheat Penny illustrates this principle perfectly. There are simply not enough gem-quality coins to satisfy the interest of every collector, and so the best examples achieve high prices. From an investment perspective, the 1927 Wheat Penny represents a safe yet potentially rewarding option. Unlike speculative modern issues that may or may not hold value in the future, the 1927 cent has stood the test of time. Its desirability is anchored in history, design, and condition rarity, all factors that ensure its continued demand. Investors often see coins like the 1927 penny as a way to preserve wealth while owning something tangible and historically meaningful. Unlike paper assets, which can lose value through inflation, a rare coin's value often grows as the years pass, especially when it represents such a significant era in American history. In conclusion, the 1927 Wheat Penny is a coin that embodies both artistry and historical context. Its obverse and reverse designs continue to captivate collectors more than a century after Brenner first created them. Its association with the roaring decade of the 1920s enhances its narrative, making it more than just a small copper disc. With market values climbing to $4,850 for the finest examples, this coin illustrates how condition, rarity, and historical intrigue combine to create lasting value. Collectors who own a 1927 Wheat Penny, especially one in mint state red, possess a tangible connection to America's past and a highly desirable treasure in the world of numismatics. Next up, 1929. No mint mark Wheat Penny. Market value. $4,400, the 1929. No mint mark. Wheat Penny is an intriguing coin that reflects a unique transitional period in American history. Produced at the Philadelphia Mint during a time of both optimism and underlying uncertainty, this penny has grown in significance for numismatists and investors alike. While it may not carry a visible mint mark, its importance lies in its scarcity in higher grades, its connection to the pre-Depression economy, and its steady rise in value over the years. Unlike some of the earlier issues of the Lincoln Wheat Cent series, which are celebrated for their inaugural status or low mintages, the 1929 Philadelphia Penny's appeal comes from the way it captures the attention of collectors seeking completeness, rarity, and condition rarity, all rolled into one. In 1929, America was on the cusp of enormous economic upheaval. The decade had been marked by prosperity and innovation, but cracks in the system were already forming. The infamous stock market crash would strike later that same year, ushering in the Great Depression. Coins minted during this period of dramatic change are viewed through a historical lens that adds to their collectability. When one examines a 1929 Wheat Penny today, it is impossible not to consider the context of its production and circulation. This very coin might have exchanged hands during transactions at the height of Wall Street speculation, or in the days immediately before the financial collapse. That association with a defining moment in U.S. history enhances its desirability among collectors who appreciate the way currency serves as a tangible witness to national events. Unlike some other years, the 1929 Wheat Penny does not exist in multiple mint mark varieties from Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia issue is the primary focus here, and while the overall mintage was not drastically low, the true challenge lies in finding examples that have survived in pristine condition. Copper coins from this era tend to suffer heavily from circulation wear, discoloration, and environmental damage. The majority of 1929 pennies available on the market today are well worn, bearing the marks of decades of use. Finding one with sharp details and original red luster is a formidable task, and it is this difficulty that elevates the coin's market value to as high as $4,400 for superb examples authenticated by trusted grading services. For coin collectors, the 1929 Wheat Penny often represents a milestone in completing a full-date set of the series. While some Lincoln cents are far rarer in terms of raw mintage, the 1929 stands out because of its condition rarity. This means that although plenty were struck initially, very few were set aside in rolls or preserved carefully when they were first minted. As a result, collectors must compete for the limited pool of surviving high-grade coins, driving up prices in auctions and private sales. The law of supply and demand functions very clearly in this case. Many collectors want a 1929 penny in top condition, but there simply are not enough to go around. Market records show consistent appreciation in value for the 1929 Wheat Penny over the decades. Even circulated examples are popular, as they still represent a key date in the late 1920s portion of the series. However, the true prize lies in securing a gem-quality piece with blazing surfaces, free from spots or discoloration. Such coins are rare, and when they appear at major auctions, bidding wars often erupt among determined collectors. The upper end price of $4,400 reflects the demand for the finest survivors, which are often graded MS65 red or higher. These pieces embody what makes numismatics so compelling: the pursuit of rarity combined with the satisfaction of preserving history. Another factor that supports the high valuation of the 1929 Wheat Penny is its broad appeal across multiple levels of collecting. Beginners might first encounter the date in circulated form when sifting through inherited collections or coin rolls. Intermediate collectors see it as a step toward building a complete wheat cent run. Advanced numismatists, meanwhile, fix their sights on elite, slabbed examples that stand out as condition rarities. This multi-tiered appeal ensures constant demand, keeping the coin relevant across generations. It is not unusual for families to pass down early Lincoln cents, including 1929 issues, from one generation to the next, further fueling interest in acquiring and preserving them. The role of third-party grading cannot be overstated when discussing the 1929 penny. Professional authentication by companies like PCGS and NGC not only provides confidence in the coin's originality, but also establishes its grade, which directly impacts value. A single step in grade can mean the difference of hundreds or even thousands of dollars. For instance, a coin graded MS64 red may already command significant attention, but an MS65 or MS66 red example pushes into the 4,000+ range. Collectors understand that eye appeal matters immensely with copper coins, and therefore coins with vibrant color and minimal imperfections consistently draw the highest bids. Interestingly, the 1929 Wheat Penny also captures attention from an investment standpoint. Unlike modern issues that may be minted in the billions, coins from this period are naturally limited, and attrition over time reduces their population further. Investors view this as an opportunity to acquire a tangible asset that not only carries monetary worth but also historical importance. The combination of scarcity, narrative, and steady market performance makes it a relatively secure investment option within numismatics. Those who purchased gem-quality 1929 Wheat Pennies decades ago have seen consistent returns, as auction records reveal rising prices that reflect expanding collector demand. Beyond its financial aspects, the coin carries emotional and historical resonance. Collectors often remark that holding a 1929 penny is like holding a piece of living history, a copper link to a year that transformed the nation. Its survival through the economic turmoil of the Depression years only deepens its meaning. Each surviving example tells a silent story of resilience, echoing the struggles and triumphs of the Americans who once used it in their daily lives. In summary, the 1929 no-mint mark Wheat Penny may appear unassuming at first glance, but its legacy, rarity in high grades, and historical connections make it a powerhouse in the numismatic community. With top-tier specimens valued at $4,400, it illustrates the way a common denomination can transform into a sought-after collectible through the passage of time and the forces of supply and demand. For collectors, it represents both a challenge and an achievement, an essential date in the Lincoln Cent series that bridges America's optimistic 1920s with the looming hardships of the 1930s, whether pursued as part of a full set or appreciated. On its own merits, the 1929 Wheat Penny without a mint mark is a treasure that continues to captivate, educate, and reward those who recognize its importance. Next up, 1935. No mint mark Wheat Penny. Market value, $4,000. The 1935. No mint mark Wheat Penny is one of those pieces of American numismatic history that quietly holds a powerful allure among collectors. At first glance, it may appear as just another old Lincoln cent, but once you peel back the layers of its story, you realize that it represents far more than just 1 cent's worth of value. This coin, struck at the Philadelphia Mint without a mint mark, carries not only the enduring charm of the Wheat Penny series, but also the historical weight of the 1930s, a time when the United States was struggling through the hardships of the Great Depression. The 1935 Wheat Penny with no mint mark is valued today as high as $4,000 in the numismatic marketplace, a figure that reflects its scarcity in higher grades, its historical significance, and the continuing demand among collectors eager to preserve such treasures. When discussing this penny, it is essential to remember the broader context of its time. The year 1935 was a difficult yet pivotal period in America's economic recovery. The country was still reeling from the collapse of 1929, and coins like this circulated in the hands of ordinary Americans who were scraping together pennies to survive. This context gives the 1935 Wheat Penny a story beyond its copper composition. It was a witness to resilience, hardship, and gradual recovery. Every cent carried weight, and coins like this were used in daily transactions, from buying bread to saving for basic household needs. This makes surviving examples of the 1935 Wheat Penny particularly significant, especially when found in pristine condition, since most were heavily used during their time in circulation. The obverse of the coin continues the iconic design created by Victor David Brenner in 1909. Featuring the bust of Abraham Lincoln. His profile faces right, with sharp details visible in well-preserved examples, such as the contours of his beard, the shape of his cheekbone, and the depth of his eye. Above Lincoln's portrait is the national motto, "In God We Trust," while to the left the word "Liberty" is inscribed, and to the right is the year of issue, 1935. The absence of a mint mark below the year indicates that it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally did not use identifying marks. This lack of a mint mark makes it part of a fascinating subset of wheat pennies that collectors seek, especially when paired with rarity in high grades. The reverse features 2 wheat stalks, one on each side, framing the inscriptions. At the top reads, "E pluribus unum," while 1 cent dominates the center in large lettering. Beneath it, the inscription United States of America confirms its identity as an official piece of U.S. currency. The wheat stalks themselves are what give this series the name Wheat Penny, symbolizing prosperity and abundance, something that stood in stark contrast to the realities of life for many Americans in the 1930s. In terms of composition, the 1935 no mint mark Wheat Penny was struck from 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, with a standard weight of 3.11 grams and a diameter of 19 millimeters. These specifications remained standard for Lincoln Wheat Pennies of the era. However, what elevates this coin above its peers is its scarcity in higher grades. Most circulated heavily and show considerable wear today, which is why examples graded mint state, MS, or even uncirculated by professional grading services such as NGC or PCGS, can command extremely high values. The current market value of up to $4,000 is usually reserved for those few specimens that have survived in top condition. These coins are typically flawless, with sharp details, lustrous surfaces, and minimal contact marks. Collectors and investors alike are willing to pay a premium for such pieces, knowing that their rarity will only grow with time. Lower-grade examples, while still valuable, fetch significantly less, but they nonetheless hold strong appeal because of their historical backdrop and connection to a defining period in U.S. history. What further enhances the appeal of the 1935 Wheat Penny is the demand among both seasoned collectors and newcomers to coin collecting. For beginners, Wheat Pennies are often the gateway into the world of numismatics because they are accessible, historically rich, and visually iconic. For advanced collectors, specific dates like the 1935 no mint mark stand out due to their scarcity and value in pristine conditions. This dual appeal ensures that demand remains strong, which directly impacts its rising market value. Collectors are also fascinated by the story this coin tells. Imagine the journey of a single 1935 penny. Minted in Philadelphia, it might have been used to buy small groceries, saved in jars for a rainy day, or exchanged countless times during the economic uncertainties of the Great Depression. Some were carried by farmers, workers, or children, eventually worn down to near illegibility. The rare survivors that escaped such wear, perhaps tucked away in a collection or forgotten in a drawer, are the reason they are so valuable today. For those who are fortunate enough to own a 1935 no-mint mark wheat penny, preservation is key. Storing the coin in a proper holder, away from moisture, oils, or abrasive materials, is crucial to maintaining its grade and protecting its market value. Professional grading and encapsulation by organizations like NGC or PCGS not only verify the coin's authenticity, but also enhance its value by providing a recognized condition rating. In conclusion, the 1935 no-mint mark wheat penny is more than just a coin. It is a tangible artifact of resilience, a symbol of everyday life during the Great Depression, and a highly desirable collectible in today's numismatic market. With a market value of up to $4,000, it represents the intersection of history, rarity, and collector demand. Whether viewed as an investment, a historical relic, or a treasured piece of the Wheat Penny series, this coin continues to inspire fascination and admiration among collectors around the world. Next up, 1939, no mint mark wheat penny, market value $3,700. The 1939 no mint mark wheat penny is another fascinating addition to the long legacy of the Lincoln Wheat Cent series, and though it carries a more modest value compared to earlier dates, its story is rich with historical and numismatic significance. This coin was struck in Philadelphia, which explains the absence of a mint mark, and it entered circulation during a critical time in world history. The year 1939 is remembered for the beginning of World War II, a moment that shifted the trajectory of nations, economies, and even everyday life across the globe. In the United States, while the nation had not yet entered the war, the economy was still in recovery from the Great Depression, and the production of coins like the 1939 wheat penny carried a strong sense of resilience and progress. For collectors, today, the 1939 no mint mark wheat penny represents more than a small copper coin. It is a reminder of the challenges and transitions of the late 1930s. Its market value, which can reach up to $3,700 in high-grade condition, reflects the way rarity, history, and preservation intersect to create enduring demand. When evaluating the worth of the 1939 no mint mark wheat penny, condition remains the most influential factor. Circulated examples are widely available, often found with wear on Abraham Lincoln's portrait and softened wheat stalks on the reverse. Such coins may carry only nominal value beyond face, but once you step into higher-grade territory, the appeal multiplies. Uncirculated coins with sharp details, full luster, and minimal marks command significant premiums at auction. Professional grading services such as PCGS or NGC play a vital role in determining just how valuable an example can be. Collectors are often willing to pay top dollar for coins that fall within the MS-65 or higher range, with values steadily climbing toward the $3,700 mark, depending on eye appeal and preservation. This makes the 1939 wheat penny a perfect example of how condition directly influences a coin's placement in the market. Another factor that draws collectors to the 1939 wheat penny is its place within the series timeline. The Lincoln cent had already been in production for 3 decades by this point, and its consistency made it an everyday symbol of American currency. Yet, while the design remained unchanged, the economic and political backdrop was shifting dramatically. For many collectors, owning a 1939 penny means holding on to a piece of history at the crossroads of peace and war. It is a year that resonates, because it marked both the continuation of American traditions and the anticipation of challenges that lay ahead. Coins, in this sense, become artifacts that embody not just designs and dates, but the emotions and realities of the people who once used them. The Philadelphia Mint struck tens of millions of these coins, which explains why they are not as scarce as earlier rarities. However, scarcity in terms of condition is what drives value. Out of the millions struck, very few remain in pristine, untouched states today. Natural circulation, time, and environmental conditions have worn down the majority, making mint state survivors highly desirable. This dynamic often surprises casual observers who assume age alone determines value. In truth, the survival rate in excellent condition is what sets apart a coin worth a few cents from one worth thousands. The 1939 no mint mark wheat penny is a testament to this principle. Collectors also find meaning in the broader continuity of the wheat penny series. Introduced in 1909 to honor the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth, the wheat penny carried his profile on the obverse and 2 symbolic wheat stalks on the reverse. By 1939, this design had already cemented itself as a fixture of American coinage. The familiarity of the design, coupled with the historical importance of its issue year, makes the 1939 penny appealing to both seasoned numismatists and newcomers alike. It is not always about the rarity of a date. Sometimes it is the intersection of commonality with historical depth that creates lasting intrigue. The market for coins like the 1939 wheat penny continues to thrive because collectors are drawn to coins that tell stories. Each penny passed through countless hands during its lifetime, and surviving examples are like tiny witnesses to the events of their era. Whether it sat in the pocket of a factory worker, was used by a student buying supplies, or exchanged in a store during uncertain pre-war years, every 1939 penny carries untold narratives. This personal dimension adds an invisible layer of value beyond what auction numbers or catalog listings can convey. In today's market, with prices reaching up to $3,700, the 1939 no mint mark wheat penny proves that even later-date wheat cents can hold substantial value. It also emphasizes that rarity is not always about low mintage numbers, but often about how many coins remain in high quality. Collectors looking to invest in one should focus on authenticated, graded examples with exceptional detail, as these remain the coins most likely to grow in value over time. In conclusion, the 1939 no mint mark wheat penny stands as a powerful example of how numismatics combines history, rarity, and preservation into a single artifact of value. While millions were struck, only a precious few survive in the kind of uncirculated state that excites serious collectors and drives auction. Prices into the thousands. Its market value of $3,700 in top condition is well-deserved, not only for its scarcity, but for the way it embodies the resilience and history of its time. For collectors, it is more than just a penny. It is a tangible reminder of America on the brink of monumental change, a coin that continues to resonate across generations.